Hello and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 3rd of March 2025. That's 2 months of the year gone already. We're in March already. Where does the time go? Indeed, it's Gary here again. And you know what? I'm just trying to avoid talking about Rangers here, so I'll just talk about the months of the year instead. Man. Oh man, oh man, what another roller coaster of a week in the life of our Wild football club. Do you know the thing for me is, see if we were just consistent. If it was consistently bad, ideally it's consistently great and consistently good and consistently getting the results that we want to get. But see if we were consistent. I think that would be something at least a little bit more palatable, a little bit more understandable. I think it's probably the best way to say it, but it's this wild swings of up and down, up and down, up and down that we get with this team. It's just so bizarre, isn't it? Just when we thought the feel-good factor was back after a brilliant, what could you say, a brilliant experience, I think is probably the best way to say it for Wednesday night. We're suddenly now on some sort of bizarro we just can't win at Ibrox run now, where the players, honestly, the players look completely bereft of any confidence, nervous as hell, playing at Ibrox, maybe kind of shell shocked. And where did that come from? I mean, everything was going great at Ibrox until the Queen's Park game, and then you've got Queen's Park, you've got St Mirren, you've got Motherwell. I'm going to repeat that: Queen's Park, St Mirren, and Motherwell, all at Ibrox. 3 losses, 5 goals against, and 1 goal for. Who would have thought that was even possible, even in our wildest nightmares, that would be possible? It's just so bad. And even with European football going relatively well, for me, this has to be one of the most one of the poorest, one of the worst seasons that I can remember. We had a conversation. Well, actually, it wasn't really much of a conversation. Alex Liddell at the Rangers Supporters Club of Calgary had a few choice things to say during the game on the weekend, most of which I will leave for another X-rated show, not this family-friendly version. But Alex said, he's in his early 70s now, and this is the worst season that he can remember. And I have to agree, like, this is the worst season that I can remember, just in terms of it's just so blah, man. It's just so awful. You don't know what you're going to get. We're completely out of things. By the way, we were, after the first Old Firm defeat, not to be all Mr. Doom and Gloom, but after the first Old Firm defeat, you just didn't see where this team were going to go, how they were going to do, how they were going to actually pick themselves up and start to compete. We had a couple of wee false dawns round about the festive period, but we just shoot ourselves in the foot against teams that we shouldn't be shooting ourselves in the foot against. It's just absolutely dire. And then we wake up today saying, or with the news, I should say, that says that the deal to take over at Ibrox has been agreed in principle. Today I'm recording a wee bit early. Right now it's 8:09 a.m. and that's good news. I don't think it's hugely unexpected. I wonder if it comes on the back of a very negative result where the powers that be are starting to say, let's put something positive out there. Because what I also noticed is that we did have a Gers guide, and the Gers guide was there quite early today. And usually after a defeat we just go into our shells as a club and don't communicate anything. So it was good to see something there. I think because we're so used to losing now, that the club's kind of thinking, we need to continue to do our jobs anyway, don't you? So maybe it's something to do with that. But the deal has been agreed in principle, so we move on and see what happens there. They go through the due diligence, and you would think, hope that there is nothing material that comes out of that would take that away, and then we'll start to get a chance to see what the structure looks like at the club, to see who's going to be in, who's going to be out, what that looks like in the beginning, what that looks like in terms of manifesting itself to a leadership team, a management team, and investment in the team, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I'll get through the game segment as quickly as I can this week. The first game was, of course, Kilmarnock's the 4-2 win at Kilmarnock, sorry, at Rugby Park there on Wednesday night, and we started absolutely shockingly, didn't we? What was that first 25 to 30 minutes all about? It was so bad, but then we picked it up. We turned it around, and then that got us, it certainly got me in really good spirits as as we were moving forward into the weekend. But we, in the beginning of the game, we got absolutely battered from the very first minute. And the goals we lost were just typical goals that we've been losing for quite some time now. Free header for the first goal, then a poor touch by Enciala, and a garbage giveaway for the second goal. And they just had chance after chance after chance. I thought it was going to be one of these 4-0 within 30 minutes games. It was just a continuation basically of the St game, to be quite honest, in terms of the team just being absolutely awful. Then run about, what was it, 29, 30 minutes, something like that. They subbed Enciala off and brought on Ridvan, moved Tav to centre back from right back there. And here's, I feel bad for Enciala. Enciala's a young guy. He's been brought into a very difficult situation. He played really well, but the games leading up to that particular game at Rugby Park, he was starting to show signs of, what would you say, mental fatigue. He's not played a lot of football, competitive football at that, and he started to see the mistakes coming in, basically letting the ball bounce when he shouldn't let the ball bounce, completely mistiming tackles and such like that. But he wasn't the only one. Like, the whole team absolutely stank in the first 30 minutes, but they decided it was going to be him to come off. And the one thing that kind of bothered me about that, to be honest, was that Barry Ferguson almost blanked him on the way out. It was Enciala that said something to Ferguson, and Ferguson was just concentrating so much on the game that he just didn't see him, or he was just in the zone, whatever that looks like. But Enciala had to kind of say, "Hey, I'm here," shake my hand, and shook his hand, and then the bench kind of blanked him as well. And I understand the pressures of the game. I understand that we're having a nightmare, and he had a nightmare, same as everyone else, but you still need to support each other. And my understanding is, certainly from what's been in the press since then, that they've been doing just that. But I didn't like that look. It wasn't a very good look, especially for a young guy who's been doing his best for us. Then we're 2-0 down. It's looking bleak. And then we get, listen to this. I hope you're sitting down for this part. Then we get some brilliant refereeing for referee Don Robertson to play advantage when he could have absolutely called a foul for a foul on Igaman at the time. A great ball from Diamande through to Cherny, who runs through and coolly slots home 2-1. And I thought that was brilliant from the ref, and I'll talk about that super briefly here in a wee second. We get, the commentators were saying it was a fortuitous corner. I thought it was a corner. I thought it just very clearly came off the bottom of the guy's foot, but the video evidence was a wee bit inconclusive. And then we scored directly, yes, directly from a corner kick. That's a couple of times we've done that over the last month as well. I wonder what's changed in that. And then we've got a brilliant ball from Ridvan, and a superb finish from Dessers over the shoulder, just strokes it home. And then we've got Bayrami to make it 4, and it could have been more. We had chances, a lot of chances towards the end of the game, and that's much more like it, isn't it? The positives was the score, the comeback, the guile, the endeavour, the passion. The fans were brilliant for the game, and that was just absolutely more like it. And that's a Rangers, a typical, genuine Rangers performance, certainly the Rangers that I remember supporting. The negatives, the first 30 minutes were shockingly bad. The goals we lost, the same sort of garbage that we've been doing. But then we got a wee bit more inventive on the weekend in terms of garbageness, so I guess I should save that for then. Stats: 64% possession, 15 shots on goal, 8 on target versus 11 shots on goal and 4 on target. They had a 50% record of goals to shots on target, and we had less than 50%. No, we didn't. We had exactly 50% as well. Sorry, that's 8. 50% of 8 is 4. Yeah, so there you go. And on the referee watch, credit to Don Robertson. I didn't think he got overly involved in the game. It does the odd wee annoyance and things like that. Most of them came in the first 30 minutes when we were just absolutely under the cosh, so maybe he was getting unfairly criticised for that. But as I said earlier, I thought it was brilliant what he did, and that was a turning point in the game. So for that, he's going to get an 8.5 out of 10. Not because he did us a favour, because he did his job and he did it very, very well. And good for him for doing that. Well done on that, Mr. Robertson. The second game was Saturday's Diarrhea Fest 2-1 home defeat at Ibrox again. It was Armed Forces Day. It was Captain James Tavernier's 500th appearance for the club. and we just can't do anything right, can we? You know, I mean, what a time to pick to, I was going to say what a time to pick to put a performance like that in, but we did it the previous two games at Ibrox. And we had a wee bit of debate on the NARSA group chat about the last time that we had lost 3 games in a row at Ibrox, and I think it was over 30 years ago. That shows you how shockingly bad it is. The first goal is a throw out from Jack Butland. Dessers makes a mess of it. Jack Butland then makes an even bigger mess of the save, spills it into the boys' path, and the guy taps it in for their goal. Never offside. They checked it and checked it and checked it for ages, and of course it was never offside. That was Jack Butland's fault. There, 100%. He's having an absolute honking season as well, by the way. And then we had our first shot in 21 minutes. I actually timed it. 21 minutes we had our first shot on target. And then it's 2-0. Tav gave the ball away. They slotted home after Jeffrey decided to do a bit of a Crocodile Dundee walkabout and go completely out of position. Deary, deary, deary me. Dessers makes it 2-1 early in the second half, and I think that's exactly attributed to in the pub and pin bar. We didn't know where the big bin was where we can normally put the coffee cups and such like that. And I found the bin just kind of tucked under the bar on the wee step under the bar. Found the bin, and then Dessers makes it 2-1. I can't believe that they're not connected in some way. And then nothing else really of note happened. We got the goal that Dessers was offside. I didn't think he was offside, and you know the time wasting. I know that Steven Gerrard used to get annoyed about the time wasting that we had with other players. Not annoyed so much in the players, but annoyed at our players for being annoyed at their players. And he would say, "You got yourself into that position, and they're right to do that." I kind of understand the sentiment there, but I hate it. I don't think that's part of football. Rangers are never really that good at that when we're holding on to a lead because we try and play the game with integrity. I don't know how you learn that stuff. I don't know how you get taught that stuff, in terms of the time wasting and such. And their goalie was absolutely shockingly bad for that. And I did see a post on the NASA WhatsApp chat yesterday saying that from next year they're going to, if the goalie holds it for more than 8 minutes, sorry, that would be a long time. If they holds it for more than 8 seconds, the referee will award a corner. Used to be 6 seconds. They were clamping down on it for quite some time. I count at least 13 seconds for every single time the goalie gets the ball before he releases it. And that's at least. Most of the time it's over 20. And it's absolutely ridiculous. But maybe we do get ourselves in that position, but that's just cheating. I don't like it. That's not playing football, in my opinion. But anyway, overall the result, the performance and result was just bad. It was meek. It was poor. It was sad, and we've just come used to it. Like there's no real genuine, like violent reaction in terms of our anger and things like that. We're just kind of settling into let's just get this season done so we can move on, and hopefully this takeover produces some sort of positivity there. Talking about positivity, in terms of the positives for the game, the only positive really was, well, you know what, we scored a goal at Ibrox, which is kind of fun. That was a good thing, but other than that, the final whistle was the most positive thing again. Negatives, once again, pretty much literally everything about the game was negative from the front to the back. We didn't make good choices. We always look to pass it back. Nobody's taking any responsibility. There's a lack of leadership on the field. Our defending is terrible from the very front to the very back. Our goalie is absolutely bang off form. We went through a bit of a list having a pint after the game on Saturday there, and through the entire squad, including the folks that were there, but the squad of players that weren't there playing in or at least on the bench Saturday, and I think I would keep 4, maybe 5 of the players, and the rest have to go. There's just not. There's too much tenure there. There's too much of a lack of a winning mentality. There's too much inconsistency. There's not enough quality. So we'll see what that goes like. In terms of possession, very similar to the last couple of games. 65% possession. We apparently had 16 shots on goal with 5 on target. Didn't feel like that. Versus Motherwell's 5 on goal and 3 on target. So they had, what would that be, a 66% ratio of shots to goals, and we had a 20% ratio of shot to goals. And then referee watch, interestingly, we had Nick Walsh back from his cheat fest at Tannadice there not so long ago when we played Dundee United, of course. And I think overall he did okay. He probably was under quite a bit of pressure, but he didn't influence the game in any way. I didn't think so. He'll get the standard 7 out of 10 for that one. One game this week, and it's on Thursday. We've got a completely free weekend. When was the last time we had a free weekend when other teams are playing? Not international weekends or anything like that. And the reason we have, of course, is we got papped out of the Scottish Cup. So maybe the break will do us good, maybe it won't. I'm not 100% sure with this bloody mob, but it's Fenerbahce that we play in the Europa League last 16 on Thursday at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Earlier kick-off for a European game on this occasion, and that's 5:45 p.m. UK, of course. Quite honestly, who knows what's going to happen with this team, with this squad? This could be our last truly competitive game of the season. If we get a doing here, then the game at Ibrox the week later is academic, and then we just move on and see, limp away to the last 10 games of the season and then just put this season to bed. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Who knows? I don't know. We'll figure it out. In terms of shout outs, big congratulations, as I mentioned earlier there, to James Tavernier on his 500th appearance. Too bad it came with another defeat. And I think that 500 appearances will certainly be a bigger deal when he's gone. I remember back in the days when Terry Butcher was there, when Richard Gough were there, when Barry Ferguson, my guy, was there as well. And we weren't all in love with each of the captains at that particular time, and same with Rickson, same with Stefan Kloss. I'm not, Amoruso. I'm not just picking out these guys. And I think it just becomes you become a little bit more storied, a little bit more revered when you leave than when you're there. But it's too bad for Tav, I think, that he joined us when he did, because he hasn't had it easy in the time that he's been with us, in the 9 seasons or so that he's been with us, and he's been very, 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 very different this season to what he's been in the rest of the seasons with us. He just doesn't seem to be able to do what we are used to seeing him doing, and he's been so, so subpar this season. So has the whole entire team, not just singling him out, but I'm talking about him overall. And I don't know. I don't know what the future looks like for him, but 500 appearances is nothing to be sniffed at. So good for him. Congratulations. Thank you for everything that you have done for us, Mr. Tavernier. And just a belated happy birthday to Billy Ferguson. His birthday was yesterday. We actually didn't realise as a group till late last night, so we got some happy birthday messages out to him for yesterday. The women's team, just when you thought they got themselves back in, they got themselves back out again. They drew 2-2 with Hearts yesterday. And the Hearts aren't one of the big four. They're certainly having a good season. But they're kind of a wee bit further out of the title race. You remember last week that I was telling you that I think all the teams were tied on 51 points, I think it was, something like that. But anyway, they were two down. The Rangers women's team were two down in a couple of second half goals to bring it back to 2-2, which is a thing. That point could be very, very crucial for them as they close in on the rest of the season. But unfortunately, what that means is that the women's team are now third in the table, and the form team in that league actually looks like Hibs right now. They've won their last, I don't know how many games, 5 games or so, and Glasgow City are top. And that Mobs team got beat by, I think it was actually Hibs that beat them there on the weekend. So Hibs and Glasgow City are joint top. Glasgow City there on goal difference. But what you might have seen last week, if you follow the women's team at all, is the fixtures, the post split, the final fixtures, whatever they're called, were announced last week, and everybody still has to play everybody else. So there's a lot of twists and turns to come in that league there as we move forward there. But it would be fabulous for the Rangers women's team to get that championship back. Just another shout out for the Melbourne City Loyal Rangers Supporters Club Culture Weekend this November 21st, 22nd. Ian Ferguson, Gary Stevens, Stuart Monroe, all going. There's a boat cruise, there's a dinner, there's entertainment, there's all the things that you need. If you're in and around Melbourne, then you are more than welcome to go and join the Melbourne City Loyal Rangers Supporters Club, boys and girls there, and have a great time. In terms of the convention, today is 100 days and 14 weeks, just over 3 months, until we descend upon Kissimmee in Osceola County, Florida, and that's June the 12th to the 15th. And I was hoping that Barry Ball would have given us a little bit of a boost and people would have been more interested in coming along. It's probably going to be the opposite of that now, but who knows? And, we were on the LED displays for the third defeat in a row. I genuinely did ask the club last week not to put us back on the LED displays, but I guess that was taken with a pinch of salt, because there we were again on both pitch side and the ones separating the lower and upper tiers of the stands across the stadium. And we got beat again. I mean, it's great to see it there, but I'm starting to get that superstitious sports fan itch there that I don't think we're helping. But anyway, back to that. We are trying to have a meeting with the hotel to talk about what the logistics for the event look like. It's going to be a smaller event than we were originally anticipating, and we just have to work that through with our partners at the Omni Hotel. Tried to get a meeting last week, it didn't happen. We'll try to get that again organised for this week so we can move forward with some genuine advertising, some announcements of further entertainment and guests and such, and then move forward from there. Did get a couple of questions about the golf. What we haven't done yet is signed a contract for the golf, because our numbers are lower, and there will be golf of some description there. We just have to get beyond this meeting with the hotel first, and then we'll get some logistics out about golf. It won't be the kind of massive, the bigger tournament that we've had before, but there'll certainly be an opportunity to walk across the street. It's not even across the street, walk across the concourse to get to the golf course, because it's going to be on premise, of course, and then we'll see what that looks like in terms of football between now and then, whether we can get enough players to actually have a football game or not. So just a reminder, the hotel rooms are out for booking and the tickets are out for booking as well. Please don't delay to get that organised. Next week, tomorrow, we are in double digits, and it's going to come in very, very, very quickly here, folks. On other business, just a quick reminder that we do have some positions, quite a few positions on the NARSA Executive. If you're interested in coming on board, or at least finding out a wee bit more about it, please by all means get in touch with me directly at rangersscc@hotmail.com. That's 2 S's, 2 C's, and we will have a chat, and I'll let you know what I know, and you can see whether that's something that you would be interested in going forward. Certainly the secretary, the treasurer, maybe a couple of the director positions, possibly a VP. We will see what happens there. In terms of the communication, the Gers guide is there, as I mentioned earlier. So today on the Gers guide, you will see that there's going to be the Rangers women's team highlights. Tomorrow's the loan review. They always do that on a Tuesday now. On Wednesday, there's a press conference for the Fenerbahce game, and then there's a training group. I'm not sure exactly what that is, and then there's a new feature called Academy Monthly, where you'll get to see all the goings on of the academy teams over the past month. On Thursday, the Euro Files is back with Rangers versus Werder Bremen, and I'm not 100% sure what year that's from. And then there's an opposition focus for Fenerbahce, and then of course is the Fenerbahce game itself at the Sukru Sarakoglu Stadium in Fenerbahce, I'm guessing is the place. On Friday, there's an under-18 game. On Saturday, there's another Europhiles with Rangers versus Osasuna. And then there is a new feature on RTV called High Five, and this one features Rangers versus Hamilton from 2009. And I guess the High Five is a game where we scored 5 goals in. And the goals here's a bit of a blast from the past for you. And the goals were from Stephen Whittaker, 2 from Kyle Lafferty, 1 from Aaron Niguez. Quite honestly, I have no recollection of that player whatsoever. And the final one was from Stephen Davis as well. Isn't it funny how you can just completely forget a player was even in the light blue shirt at any point in time? And then on Sunday, it's the Scottish Gas Women's Scottish Cup quarter-final with Rangers hosting Spartans. That's a 2 p.m. kick off. Just another quick reminder from a communication perspective that the Rangers Review do have a special out there where you can subscribe to the full year of content for just £5, and I'll leave the link there on the show notes for this week. And actually another one on the communications, for some reason my Hotmail doesn't seem to want to send the emails anymore. It just stopped. I get an error message saying we can't send it right now, please try later. It never works. I've tried a different browser, I've tried to log out and log back in, it's not working. If it would say you're trying to send it to too many people, or there's a broken link or something like that, I would know. So you might have seen that I've been sending it through our MailChimp account over the last wee while. My fear is that I don't then have every single email address that I used to send it to, and it's a bit of a chore to get them all transferred over to MailChimp. So if you're not receiving it, there's a reason for that. It's just a technical issue. Obviously it may be user error on my behalf, of course, but I'm doing everything I absolutely did before, and it just doesn't seem to be working the way that I wanted it to work, which is a bit of a pain in the backside. And one final reminder of the International Coaching Convention, which is now officially 1 month away. It's next month now, and that's from the 3rd to the 6th of April, and I'll leave the link there if you're into that sort of thing. All right, my friends, that will do it. Thank you very, very, very much for taking the time to listen. Please do share it with anyone that you think might enjoy it. Who knows what's going to happen this Thursday? I wouldn't even be surprised if we got a brilliant result there and that ended up enticing us to be excited for the game, the return leg at Ibrox next week. And I think just on that, I'm actually glad it's not at Ibrox, because Ibrox is now a bit of a graveyard for us. Until next week, do your very best to take care, and all the very, very best to yourself, okay? Follow.